how to do Amazon FBA 100% remotely. And I've been doing this for the past 3 years. I've seen over 200 cities, have been freer than ever. And guys, yes, there's a lot of money in the business, but the real richness and the real, aspect of the business is being free and location independent, do anywhere in the world. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to do Amazon FBA 100% remotely. I'm going to talk about everything from systems, selling, process, everything. Okay. So let's get started. First things first is we're going to go to a bit of a deep dive of 5 major things talking about the workflow and sending on Amazon and selling on Amazon, because many of you might not even know what Amazon FBA is or how it even works. A lot of people say, is it like drop shipping? Is it drop shipping? I don't know what it is, right? I hear it all the time. So I'm going to explain to you how Amazon FBA works. And yes, it's literally this simple. There's not too many different components about it. It's all about what you do in the middle of this to make it work well or not work well. But it's this simple, all right? So first things first, you have to buy inventory from a supplier because you actually need to buy a product to be able to sell it, right? So whether that's a retailer or a wholesale distributor, or if you work directly with the brand, right? Which is obviously the highest level of Amazon. But if you're working with a retailer, you're doing some business model called online arbitrage. If you're doing with a supplier, like a distributor, you're doing wholesale, okay? So you have to buy from either one of those, however well you do it, is in your own means in your own business. But you have to buy from them to basically bring the product in, okay? Once you bring the product in, you might be saying, well, I can't bring the product to my house or apartment because then I'm required to be there. So what you do is you send the product, the inventory, to a prep center, right? And a prep center is basically just a mini warehouse, or it could be a large warehouse, and they package, prep, and send the product to Amazon's fulfillment centers, okay? Then Amazon stores the inventory, right? So Amazon FBA, which stands for Filled by Amazon, they have 150 plus warehouses across the world, the US, and probably 500 plus across the world. And they literally are a distribution company, right? So they're going to store the inventory, they're going to package it, prep it, and ship it off to the customer when they get an order on their marketplace, okay? So the prep center is shipping to Amazon's fulfillment center or one of their massive warehouses. And Amazon says, thank you, I'll take it in. I scan it in to know that jayslarosa is sending this inventory in, and this is, counted as his inventory. Then they store it on a section or a, different area of the warehouse that's wherever it's supposed to go, however they categorize it, with liquids or physical products, however they do it. Then when an order comes in on my end, right, from my Seller Central account, Amazon gets notified because they have a software that's connected and correlated. And they then basically just get the product, package it, prep it, put their Amazon label on it, and they scan it in to show that it was shipped and sold. And I'm credited for the money for the sale. And then Amazon, the customer, is getting to receive the product because the truck goes on its way. They load it to the truck, and it goes from there. So it's a very simple process. The product is literally going from supplier to prep center, which is basically, think of it as like a step down to Amazon's warehouse. Okay. So it's going supplier to a step down to prep center, and then to Amazon, and then to the customer. Okay. It's pretty simple. And the magic happens in between those, those components. Right. But that's not it. All right. You can see here, that is not it. Arrow pointing down to the process in between it. Because although it sounds very, very simple, and it is, well, how come not 100% of the people in the world can do it successfully if it sounds so simple, right? Well, to run any business, you need some sort of process. But to run a fully remote business, you need to have really good processes. And when I left back in June of 2022 or 2023, I didn't have a lot of these processes, and I was starting to figure it out. But after a few months, I had to incorporate them and bring them into the business, or else the business would have failed and dissolved. Okay. So let's get into it. First is SOPs, which stands for Standard Operating Procedures. And they're basically just guides and templates that you make. You can make them through Google Docs, through Words, through Sheets, through Notion, whatever platform that you like. And it's basically like a textbook of whatever information is required or needed for a certain aspect of the business, right? So for example, let's say sending a shipment. You have an entire SOP or a guide on how to send a shipment, right? Because if you had to have, a certain team member operate off this, or you have to have, yourself operate off this and you don't remember, you can go back to the guide and you can go through every single step so you can do it correctly, right? And this is for everything. This is for sourcing products. This is for, authenticating suppliers to make sure if they're good or not. You have an SOP for every single aspect of the business. So you take your information from here and you put it here. Because when you hire people, which I'll talk about in a second, you have to transfer the knowledge and the information without it being chaos, right? You want to get it done efficiently, or else you're going to constantly be on the computer teaching people or just trying to remind yourself of how to do it. And that creates no efficiency. That doesn't allow you to travel the world, see all these cool places, and do cool things during the day. That creates chaos. Okay. So once you create SOPs, every aspect of the business, guys, sourcing products, you can have communication with suppliers. I have many SOPs for those, how you should respond to certain, responses and emails, or how you should talk with them and how to open up an account. Like SOPs on literally every aspect of the business. And this is just isn't Amazon FBA. I mean, every single company in the world has SOPs, right? Because it makes it very structured and routine. You can even have SOPs for SOPs. It just keeps everything organized. And that way, if you ever need information or a team member needs information, they just go into the SOP and they pull it there. So that, and also more importantly, is if you ever have new team members, and let's say you had to let go of a team member, unfortunately, or let's just say that you had a tough time remembering something, right? You don't have to reteach it. You basically just point to the SOP and say, this is what's included in all of your roles. These 8 SOPs. Study them, master them, and perform them. All right. It makes it very, very simple. It's like a one time and lives forever. All right. Then management sheets for data. If you're not organized, right, and it's okay to use Google Sheets or Excel spreadsheets, whatever platform you use, it's important to know that you just need to use one of them, all right? Because if you have to track orders, if you have to track, outbound shipments or how much money you're spending, you put it all on the sheet. You track your invoices so you can go back in time to basically pull that invoice if you ever need it. And this is what I did, and it was like my blueprint, right? So whenever I spent money on an inventory, I'd have it in my order sheet. So that way at the end of the month, I can assess how much money I spent, if I overspent, if I underspent this month, and I can have projections for the next month of what I'm expected to spend. And it's for everything. You can have it for, like I said, for invoices. If you ever have to go back into see an invoice to double check it and see it twice and say, okay, yeah, this is the invoice. This was the supplier communication. This was the email I have to contact. And maybe the most important aspect of it, which I haven't touched on yet, is tracking leads and opportunities. I was able to track leads and opportunities from 6 to 9 to 12 to 20 months ago, right? Where I can just go back into those sheets and say, let's see if this opportunity is available to sell again. And I would go back into the sheet. I had a master lead sheet. I'd pull it out, and it was March 12th. And let's say I pulled it up in November, and I could say, okay, great. This is the lead that was profitable back in November. And now I can just go here, find the supplier, find the Amazon link all here on my sheet, pull the supplier and buy the inventory again. So it creates a very, very repeatable process to make it so simple. And then of course, as we get across the flow chart, when you have a team member, to integrate and have sheets with team members is so, so important because it just eliminates so much unnecessary communication and chaos on a day-to-day basis, right? Because we only have so many hours in the day. And if you're traveling the world and you want to go explore and live around, to cities and see cities and get on flights every other day, you have to have some sort of process to make sure that things are running or things are organized, even when you're 30,000 feet in the air. All right. So let's go to the next travel working essentials. Now, this isn't extensive or very much, but you need a laptop. You need a phone, okay? 2 pretty self-explanatory things. And I had a portable Wi-Fi box or router that I pretty much needed because when I'm in Zanzibar, Africa, it's limited or slow Wi-Fi, and wasn't able to have high communication with the team. So having a portable Wi-Fi box, I was able to just flick on the Wi-Fi wherever I was. And I know you can do that with your hotspot most of the time, but if there's literally no cell service and no anything, your hotspot's not going to work. So having that was critical to have, a portable Wi-Fi thing. Also, having ExpressVPN, critical. Having some sort of VPN, whether it's Nord or any other ones out there. Express is one of the bigger ones. That's why I chose it. but you're basically able to show that you're in any location at a time, and you just protect your data and your backend. Because when you're in public Wi-Fi's and new Wi-Fi's, you don't really know what's going on, right? It doesn't matter where you are or what country you are. It's important to have your protected data, or else your logins are going to be everywhere. All right. So there you go. So travel working essentials. Now pulling it all the way across the flow chart. Let's zoom in here, right? Because this is critical. Zoom into VA virtual assistants. Now, I don't care how skilled you are, it is impossible to do 1000% of the things in the business that needs to get done. Okay, unless you want to drive yourself crazy. And there is zero chance you're able to do that while traveling the world, unless you just want to travel the world and live in a room all day, right? There's no point of traveling the world. So having a VA team, which is virtual assistants, and you can hire them. There's platforms all over the website. You're able to delegate certain tasks of the business. Okay. So if you want to delegate roles like sourcing in Amazon, which is the first one that I did, you delegate it. Then you want to delegate account management, where that was the second role I delegated, where it was any refunds or returns or problems on the account were handled, invoices and bills were paid. So having a virtual team and building out a team is critical, because it makes a one-person business into a 2, 3, 4-person business now, where different aspects of the roles are completed and taken care of regardless of where you were. If you're 30,000 feet in the air, or if you're in a country that has struggling Wi-Fi or so on. All right. So now, depending on how many VAs you need, of course, that's according to you, right? And it's according to how many you think is relevant and right for the business. For me, in the early days, it was 1 and then 2, and now I'm at 5. Okay. Of course, that grows with scale and goes on. Is 5 needed to run a business completely remote and make $5,000 a month? No. Okay. Right. You can do it with 1. You could do that even with none, but I valued my time moreover working in the business 24/7. So I decided to hire. Okay. And it's been a really great decision and has stuck with me. So this 4 module flow chart here of SOPs, management systems, travel working essentials, and a VA team has allowed me, right, to do things successfully and easily. Okay. Now let's talk about some of the most important things that you're going to need when it comes to softwares and resources and doing things effectively. Now, I talked about for hardware, it's pretty self explanatory. Your laptop, your phone, and travel Wi Fi box is not required, but it sure is effective when you need it in certain periods of time. If you're going to only major cities like Bangkok, like Manila, like Milan, like South Africa or Cape Town, you're going to find successful Wi-Fi's, and probably better than in the US, the UK, or wherever you're from. So it's not necessary, but the other two are. The laptop and the phone are. So you're going to need that. And then and yeah, so there you go. So now for softwares and resources, one thing that was effective for me was a software called 1Password, where I was able to keep all of my passwords for credit cards and logins, etc., on one, platform basically. And that way, whenever I had to log in a password or grab a credit card number, I could just copy and paste it. And it was very secure, and it's very cheap for the year. I think it's like $99 for a year. Excuse me. And yeah, it's so effective to use, because that way you're not fumbling and pulling out your credit cards and they're falling all over the place, or you're just your passwords are everywhere on a Google Doc or on your phone, and it can be hacked at any time. So that's very effective. Now, I also touched on to ExpressVPN. Having any VPN in general is very effective, and you can pull it up basically in any city, any major city, and show that that you are in the US, or you're in the UK, Canada, wherever you want to be, any city in the US, you can basically present that. All right. Next is Google. Google is critical to have for your SOPs, your sheets, and just your data tracking, also for your emails. But an alternative to Google is Notion. You can use Notion for all of your SOPs and data tracking and information tracking. I kind of substituted Notion for Dropbox, because I just basically created SOPs and then just downloaded them as PDFs and put it in Dropbox. And I was also able to put like pictures or Loom videos in there. So that's important as well. And lastly, I would say is Loom, right? Like Loom recordings to basically just shoot like instant videos to a team member or a person you needed back in the US was critical for me. Like I was able to basically teach or send a message instantly rather than setting up a meeting or being on different time zones. Because many parts of Asia, you're on a 12-hour difference time zone. So it was hard to set up phone calls and such if I'm in Europe or if I'm, traveling around, and especially back in the US, if I needed to talk to suppliers and so on. So you can just shoot a Loom recording video and get through it. And then WhatsApp is kind of self-explanatory. That's basically like the global texting app and calling app of the world while actually having to have a phone number in that country. All right. And that's pretty much it. So here's happy travels with financial freedom. So kind of with this step and method in your Amazon FBA business or for an e-commerce business, you're able to just travel the world freely, have the systems. These are two pictures of me in Portugal and Italy, but you're able to have the systems down compact. You're able to have your team doing their workflow pretty easily without you having to freak out, and also without you having to teach them constantly. So again, this 4 module framework is going to take you to the next level and allow you to do this Amazon FBA business completely remote. And you already know it's pretty self-explanatory, guys. Like there's 5 steps here into getting a product from dead to sale. All right, which means from not even having it to making a sale and making a profit in the middle there. All right, because you're essentially a broker. You're just an independent retailer online looking to sell products that people already know and love. All right, so there you go. Amazon FBA 100% remotely. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I have more content coming up about Amazon FBA, doing it remote, and just doing it successfully in general. So there you go. See you for now.